Hey everybody, welcome to Ask the Coach. I'm not Angela, and she's not here today, but she might join us. I'm Louise from UK Recruiter, and I've got two fabulous guests between us. We're going to answer those 6 questions which are in the chat. But if you're joining us live, say hi in the chat and we'll introduce ourselves. It is very important that I tell you, this is the 50th Ask the Coach session. And so Angela's going to be devastated she's not here. But presumably in a moment she'll pop something in the chat. Oh, here she is. I'm sorry everyone, been using Crowdcast to comment all week and didn't realise it wouldn't let me use video and audio. And that's what happens when you go overseas. So Sarah and Claire, do you want to introduce yourself? Sarah, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. It's great to be here, and especially it's the 50th edition, which is it's my first one, so that's great. So I'm a coach, run a company called The Values Connection, and my background's in film and TV, actually, working in the script development area, producing for many years, and then moving into higher education, kind of developing programs and teaching, lots of students over the years to do those things. And what I found and became increasingly interested in was that, the emotional connection, which is at the heart of, creativity, at the heart of creating stories, is something that is kind of fundamentally needed today in the workplace. And I'm using those skills, so things like the writer's room ethos and looking at ways of emotional connection to actually help people succeed in the workplace, particularly in environments that are difficult, / becoming toxic. So I have some experience of that, unfortunately, firsthand. So I find it really helps, to kind of improve things there.
Brilliant. And I've just put a link to your LinkedIn back in the chat. It's right at the top above those 6 questions, so I've popped it in again. Okay. Claire, do you want to introduce yourself and I'll share your link too?
Lovely. Thank you, Louise. So my name is Claire Ackers. I have been in the recruitment industry since 2005, and I've definitely got the grey hairs and wrinkles to prove it. I've been an award-winning biller. I've been a manager. I've been the founder of my own tech recruitment company, but I'm also a qualified coach. I qualified in 2007, and my whole thing is about authenticity. I firmly believe that authentic recruiters change lives, and for me, that's all about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and then having the courage to live that every day. And I think recruitment is such an important industry, and we get to change the world through recruitment. They'll change lives, get to change careers, and I'm the creator of the Authentic Recruitment Method, which is my coaching program. And I'm just excited about where this conversation is going to go today. I think it's going to be a good one.
I'm excited, and there's a certain amount of trepidation because I'm not 100% sure I read all 6 questions. So anyone who doesn't know me, Louise Triance, I run UK Recruiter, always on LinkedIn, always on Crowdcast. And if you're watching over on LinkedIn, I'm hoping that Blake will redirect you to Crowdcast, because if you join us here, there's a chat and all the rest of it. But in a minute, I will just go and pop over to LinkedIn and see what's going on there. So we have got 6 questions. I'm presuming that we answer them in order. And I actually can't remember who's going first. Who fancied question 1, which is... Who was that?
That was me, Sarah.
Oh, super. So with the UK market up and down at the moment, isn't it weird we're still struggling to find candidates, and there are so many jobs to fill? Blake, can you hit that one as start answering, and then we'll go for it. So, yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, cool. So obviously chip in as we go along, but I'm sure we'll kind of overlap anyway. But I think in regard to this, I think there are a few things going on, and I'm sure, as recruiters, you've got experience, much more experience than I have, of kind of the day-to-day, the number of people looking for work and looking to fill spots. But I think what I'm seeing, and from talking to people post-lockdown, I think people realise that we can survive on less. We can survive without, doing the 9 to 5 and the commutes and all the rest of it. And so problems that were in evidence before, but were kind of pushed to one side, just became front and centre. And they've become magnified. And I think there was a recent article, Forbes article, that was on LinkedIn recently. I can put the link in later. That toxic work culture is the #1 reason that staff are leaving. I mean, we only need to look at what's going on Twitter this week. you know, and it's still shocking that these things happen, but it's no surprise, I think, now that people want more autonomy, they want more agency over their lives and their careers, and so are reluctant to kind of jump into positions that may not, you know, meet their tick list of what they want for their life. The sad thing about it, I mean, a client that I recently worked with who is in a senior position in the NHS, you know, 30 plus years, so much experience, and the problems that have been there before, like excessive workload, you know, responsibilities beyond the level of your job, lack of transparency, all of these issues are so strong now that people are just choosing to leave careers that they've had for 30 years. She was going in to do voluntary work because she felt she had more control over that, and still wanted to give and you know, use her skills in any way she could. So I think, you know, things like quiet quitting that are talked about, which is a bit of a buzzword recently, but essentially I think people have just had enough. I think everything that's gone on in the last few years, they're thinking, do you know what, I can manage on less, I can, you know, be more choosy, and that obviously makes it difficult for people wanting to recruit good people into those positions. Yeah, so that's, I mean, I don't know if you agree or...
Yeah, that's a really, really good analysis of where we are at the moment. Claire, do you want to chip in on that? I see Angela bobbed on screen with that.
Briefly.
Yeah.
Am I there or not? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
This has been a little disaster. So apologies, ladies.
And I can't see you, by the way.
You can't see me. No, the fact that I've spent an hour getting up from the beach, showering, doing my hair, doing my makeup, and not actually...
We believe you.
Yeah.
Opening up the broadcast to actually get on, realising that I needed a VPN because I'm in the United Arab Emirates and it doesn't allow video, and I hadn't got a VPN. I have now. I've paid for one. I'm on, and I still can't get the video, and it doesn't give me an option. Louise, you are the specialist in this. It's not giving me sort of check your settings vibe, so I'm not sure.
Do you know what? 5 minutes into an event, I'm not sure I can troubleshoot that. I think we keep you as the black tile. I know you look glamorous and gorgeous, but I think we keep you as the black tile, the voice behind the curtain, and we have to go with that.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for just rolling with it, ladies. Certainly the amount of experience that's on the... I heard Claire's introduction. I don't know if I interrupted the other two. Have you all done your introductions?
Yeah, we've done that. We've done our introductions. We have, Angela, and we've answered question 1. I think I was just going to see whether Claire had anything else to add to the answer to question 1.
Yeah, just very briefly, just to concur with what Sarah's saying, really. For me, what I'm saying is that candidates' expectations have changed. They want different sorts of flexibility. You know, it's not just a case of picking up a permie and then putting them into another company. They want different balance, different flexibility. They want portfolio jobs, all that kind of thing. So it's very much a period of flux. And for me, it's about just riding it out, essentially, letting things settle, letting people figure out what this new state looks like. And then as recruiters, work with the savvy clients, the savvy employers who are being flexible on that and are willing to take our advice as recruiters about how to secure candidates. Yay!
I think it's better with a black square, to be honest.
Not at all.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for that. I know that what I loved when I saw this group of women together was the amount of values, and I'm just going to use that word. It's sort of elements of all of what we do, and the integrity that's in this room, as it were, and what we do in industry. I just thought, wow, what a powerful lineup. So thank you so much for joining us on that. I'm just going to go with it. Usually we change around the order or anything. I'm just going to go with it. So question 2 then. Who was up for question 2? That was Louise. So I want to use 360 feedback survey with my team. actually worried about the results. It's been such a tough year. We've had lost a couple of key people. So just to give you a bit of background, this person is a really good manager. They want to learn more about how they can be better. I don't think it was really anything to do with them and their management style as to why the two people left. I think it was a hangover over 2 years. But she obviously doesn't want to get negative feedback like any of us. That's understandable. So what's your thoughts on that, Louise?
Yeah, I mean, I'm entirely understanding of that position where it's like, do you know what, I'd just maybe like to bury my head in the sand, kind of hope that things improve. You wish you'd do reviews 2 months earlier when everyone was happy, and now there's fluctuations in your organisation, there's challenging times. You're worried it's going to upset the boat more, and it's going to make other people think about where they are in the organisation, and maybe they're going to reconsider their options. But I don't think there's anything worse than not doing the reviews. I think maybe just be a bit careful about the way the questions you're asking, because one of the things about reviews is you definitely don't want to start leading people. You want to ask questions that you're going to get the right answers, the valuable answers, but actually it's up to you what questions you ask in a review environment. And if you're using a structure, so I do some work at Crowdcast, they use a thing called Lattice to do their kind of online stuff, their reviews, because they're all remote working. And there's like a question bank for reviews, which is something like 70 questions long. So I would just say to be really straight with people that their feedback is super important. You know there's been some challenging times, but to ask the questions which were going to lead you in the direction that you need to go in. Maybe not too many hugely open-ended questions, maybe some things which will give you valuable insight, but always things which are actionable. So, these, what are 3 things which could make you happier in your job? And then you do none of them. Now's not the time for that. It's things which people can give input on and that you can make happen for them or learn from or change. The other thing is that people are always going to leave organisations. And if they're going to go, they're going to go. Help them to leave rather than them just doing a runner without you being prepared.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's flux at the moment anyway. People are going to start moving around a bit. I think they've been hanging on for quite a long time, and if they're not getting what they need, then but you're right. There's a good way and a bad way to have an employee leave. There's an amount of companies that don't do exit interviews to identify some of those key elements that I come across is amazing. So even if you just do that, and don't do it with their line manager, do it with someone that's a little bit neutral. I get companies ask me to do them, so that's someone outside the business potentially that can give some objective feedback potentially. But whatever you do, Sarah, doesn't your company not 360 feedback, but engagement questionnaires and engagement strategies, and that's something that you do?
Yes, I mean I don't do the surveys, but I talk to people about the results, because often with these reviews, and I think in some bigger organizations, and people are under stress, appraisals and performance reviews can be completed but then just shelved, and kind of nothing else is done. But actually to make that an active ongoing document, I mean many people obviously do that, but to actually look at if people don't ignore the signs that people are not engaged or that they're struggling, and actually be more proactive in using the results of them to benefit both parties and to improve things.
Definitely. So I think if you haven't done it before, now is a really good time to be getting answers, asking people, finding how they're feeling. Yes, about the company, about your management, and what they're going to need for next year. And the easiest way is to ask them, isn't it? So let's do it. Let's take it on the chin. Let's get better at what we do. We know that the majority of people leave a company because of their management. Yeah, make a difference to that. It's really going to help, isn't it? Okay, fantastic. So Claire, question 3 then. I'm thinking of focusing more on headhunting next year rather than being a 360 recruiter. This has been backwards and forwards for the last 2 or 3 years, where people have been doing one then the other, and keep only ever done a couple of positions over the last 5 years. So they're an experienced recruiter, 5 years plus. Is it a good idea for 2023? And what should I do to focus to increase my skills?
I've been excited about answering this one. In short, yeah, I think it's a great idea. Anything that you can be doing to differentiate yourself from the competition and give you a bit of a USP is worth investing in. Few reasons for that. We've talked a little bit about the interesting behaviour from candidates that we're experiencing at the moment. Anything that's going to get you in front of those passive candidates who aren't on the open market, who aren't being pulled from pillar for post, who aren't open to counter offers, is anything you can be doing to be courting and nurturing relationships with those passive candidates. I think is really smart. If you're doing this, you'll be able to get some stats behind you to prove why headhunting is a really good idea. So that can become a USP or a stat to show clients, to get better relationships with clients. You can get better terms with your clients. So at the very least, you can work with them exclusively. You can be working on retained campaigns. So you've got that visibility in your cash flow, and you've got that visibility in your pipeline, which is always good if we're worrying about going into recession. And it's more satisfying. I used to love nothing more than getting my head stuck into a proper deep headhunting campaign. You can be benchmarking salaries, you can be providing really important information, and just kind of knowing that I was working on a role that no other recruiter had was that extra bit of excitement for me. So headhunting, I think, is fantastic. And in the question, it said headhunter rather than 360. Now, I'm assuming there's going to need to be some clients somewhere in that relationship. And you asked about where to increase your skills. So first and foremost, this is where I would spend my time, investing in increasing my skills, winning relationships with a handful of complete utopia, dream, ideal 10 out of 10 clients that love you, that are going to become your raving fans, that are going to work with nobody but you and recommend you to other clients that are like them. And they're going to work at your terms and your rules of engagement as well. So working on the terms that really, really work for you and however you want to run your recruitment practice. And there are 2 exercises that I do with my coaching clients, which I'd really recommend that you do. The first one is ICA work, which no recruiter does well. So it's a real good opportunity to differentiate yourself, which is creating your ideal.
Sorry, can you just clarify ICA work?
Yes. So
ICA work?
ICA is ideal candidate or ideal client avatar. So you are creating a ideal person, a living and breathing person, that everything you do is through a lens of talking to them. So LinkedIn posts, your pitch documents, all that stuff, it's speaking to that person. So you're going to go away and you're going to come up with a name, you're going to come up with a job title, you're going to come up with a location, hobbies, interests, are they married, have they got kids, all that kind of stuff. So every single thing you do, whether it's through the eyes of a client, through the eyes of an ideal candidate, is speaking to that person. Now, what that's going to give you is a surface level transactional relationship with that person, but it's still going to be better than 90% of the recruiters out there. The second exercise I'd recommend is empathy connection method. And that is basically when you can connect with your ideal clients and candidates at heart and gut level. And that's where the real magic happens in terms of headhunting. Empathy connection is an exercise. I can send people a link if they want to have a little look at it. You basically understanding your client and candidate's worldview, their hopes, their dreams, their pain points, the stuff that's really keeping them awake at 2:00 in the morning. So you can provide a headhunting service to your clients that is just blowing with their mind at how much you're helping them, but also you can get that loyalty from your candidates. You can offer them something that no other recruiter is, real, honest, truthful, integrity, values-fueled relationship that's really going to make a difference in their lives. And when you can get that, that is absolutely magic. So yes, I would go for headhunting is the short answer.
Love it. Yeah, it wasn't a closed question, but wanted an open answer on that one. So thank you for that. And I'm thinking, like you're saying, they're likely to have 4 or 5 clients that really love them after 5 years or so. So having that conversation and letting them know this time for next year, we can see it getting tougher again in different ways. So really want to work on the relationship. I think they would be really open to that, to have that conversation. And I want to work directly with you on a retained basis. So why not? What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say, no, we'll carry on as we are. You might as well pick up from there. Louise, did you want to jump in on that?
No, except for I definitely think a question for future Ask the Coach is, how do you get clients to give referrals and recommendations? I know we won't have time today. I don't want to move off the topics, but can you add that to future Ask the Coach?
I will, and we've got a week of BD coming up, so it will go in that one as well. So how to get clients to refer. Love it. I like how these things add on. Brilliant. And yeah, Blake in my comments has just said, I think we dealt with that quite well, to be fair. The disaster that was all over the place. If I know Louise is going to be around, I can always relax anyway. I was like, but I don't know if you were here on time or not.
I was on time. Thank goodness I was here.
Fantastic. That worked really well then. Brilliant. Let me just get those terms again, because I love learning new stuff in recruitment, and I've not heard of some of these before. So an ICA is either an ideal client avatar or an ideal candidate avatar. I just call them, ideal clients, and profiling clients to get like the top 10 things, like what's most important to you that works really well. So think of your best client, your ideal client, the one that you love when they ring up. You want to profile them, and you will actually get more and more of those. So I like that idea of everything you're writing to them, because it's a bit like putting it out into the universe, isn't it? That's what you're going to draw back, that it's going to be appreciative to them. So you're more likely to get that type of client or candidate coming to you. And the connection method, is that what I wrote? Did I write that right?
The signal just cut out, but it's the empathy connection method. It's a model I've developed, but I'm very happy to share it if anybody's interested in having a little go at it as an exercise.
Fantastic. Okay, so yes, please do. With these Ask the Coach, it is all about sharing and knowledge shared. And this gets downloaded and put into the course. This is number 50. I don't know if you referenced that. We've done 50 of these already. It's every 2 weeks. So we've been going nearly 2 years. And the links and all the resources get put into the course. So there's 50 sessions with loads of resources that on the button if you're new to us. And from there, it will take you into the course. You can sign up. It is free. There's 6 free courses, so feel free to do that. Wonderful. Right, let's go on to question 4 then. So Sarah, I'm coming to you. Yeah. I want to be really open and honest with our team. They're 2 of our company values, but I'm concerned about opening up too much about my worries concerning what could happen if we end up in a recession. Our clients aren't recession-proof. Okay, so they're not in healthcare or something in government around that area. Or not. So sort of authenticity to me that you speak. So what's your views, Sarah?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, you know, two things really sort of came up for me with this, and one is easier than the other to manage. But I think, you know, first of all, we know that we're in a recession, and your, you know, staff and employees and clients already know. I mean, as the Chancellor kind of announced yesterday, you know, we're already there. So I think don't underestimate the thoughts and the knowledge that people have got, you know, so you can't hide things. And I think as soon as people start to feel that you are hiding information or keeping things back, then that's, you know, a recipe for disaster. So I think honesty is a good thing, and I think you can do it in a, you know, a compassionate and an open way, in, you know, and this is where it does take that, you know, vulnerability. I know Brene Brown's work on all of that, you know, the vulnerability to acknowledge that you don't have all of the answers right now, but you're working on the answers to kind of deal with the current situation and the short to mid term, you know, how to actually ride the wave. And I think the important thing in terms of keeping people on board with you is to include them, you know, is to actually ask for input. Don't presume, you know, for leaders and recruiters, don't presume that you have to have all the answers and be able to manage it all yourself, but actually to require input from people. And that gives them some, you know, skin in the game, really. That gives them a sense of agency that means they're more likely to stick with you through hard times and to work together. So I think that's what people want. You know, we can handle bad times, but if we do it together and from you know, looking at one purpose. And the other thing that came up for me, which, you know, and it's great that it references the company values is actually to use your values as a tool. So I think quite often that, you know, a lot of work goes into creating values for companies and organizations, and then they're sort of again pushed to one side a little, and they, rather than just kind of pop up in, you know, strategic documents or posters and all the rest of it, actually use them as the tool to work through things and get people on board. And so understand, you know, for example, respect, you know, as a value, everybody would agree that that's an important value. But if you're, you know, if you've got employees, or if you're working with clients that don't like to be contacted and they're getting really upset that they're getting emails at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, you know, they feel that their time is not being respected. So I think it's making really clear what those things mean, what those values mean, and how that then translates into practice and the everyday workings of your company and your business. Because once people know those things, they know how to act, how to react, and you're all kind of coming from the same place. It makes, I mean, my background with film and TV, and coming from like the writers' room experience, where, you know, you had deadlines, you know, you had to create 12 weeks of story in 2 days. There was no messing about. You know, 12 weeks of screen time had to be created in that time. And so you've got a hugely diverse group of people, but you've all got one very clear purpose and desire to create the best product. And so you all do it, and you all get there, and you negotiate. And I think a lot of those elements really work in practice in teams, you know, in any environment. So I think you use those values to actually explore it, but be honest, ask for support, and be open with your clients. I think that's only always a good thing.
Yeah, that honesty is the best policy, I think, because if you're worrying, the likelihood is they know what's going on. Gosh, they're not blind, so they're probably worrying as well. So to open it up, to air about the concerns, and then together to have a plan to say, right, let's do this together. What's our one key thing for next year to start with, and say having that one clear vision makes it very much easier for everyone to then get behind that and to see what they need to do. So I would agree with you on that. Anyone disagree or have any other opinions in relation?
I can add one thought, which is to just be really, really careful about the language you use and the messaging that you're putting across, because I've heard from people who work in organizations where the management is saying, well, you know, it's really tough at the moment and companies are making layoffs, and then move on to something else with some sort of like
Elon Musk anymore?
Yeah, but with some sort of hideous implication that maybe we're going to make redundancies, we're just not telling you at this point. So I think that goodness only knows what's going through the manager's mind when they say something like that. They might be thinking, and we're not going to, or prepare yourself, whatever it is. But just be really careful, because when you are in an organisation at senior level and you know your job is safe, other people don't, and they really, really need their jobs, and they don't need any uncertainty. So I would just say be very careful about when you're communicating, to think about how that messaging looks to everybody in the organisation.
Yeah, doing it like either here is the plan, or let's create the plan. I can remember doing it with Landra Associates in 2008. So we knew something was going to be happening. We'd felt a sense that there was going to be a recession. I mean, it didn't hit for another year or so, but 2008, we all sat down as a team, and Clark was part of that, I believe, as well. And we created a plan with an A, B, C, and D element to it. So A was, okay, it's all going to be fine, and it's only going to be a little blip, and we'll carry on as normal. B was a recession. C was a disaster, and D was sort of final. I've just got a vision of Titanic. With her on the boat, her on the board, and like the board was the last bit. That wasn't spoken about, it just flashed through my head for some reason. But you know, grip into the last points. We got to plan C. We did get to plan C. We had to go through those elements. So I think it happens, and thinking about what ifs. Actually, if you talk about it and it's out there, it's a lot more comfortable for people to actually understand, rather than, as Louise said, just not saying anything. And then you're going to make up everything in your head. I did hear this morning, and it was sort of the first main Admittedly, it's in Singapore, but S3 closing down in Singapore. If anyone's looking for good Singapore consultants, I've got a list of them for you. May be able to help if you're looking to open up there, or if you've got people there, then yeah, there's going to be some people. And I think that's why this one's going to be a bit different as well. The fact that we're so desperate for good consultants that we're probably not even going to notice it for 3 to 6 months, because they're all going to get snapped up by those companies that are really busy and are looking for people, because we've just not had them for a year or so. Claire, did you have something to add to that?
Just to echo what you three said, really. I'm really excited about the film and TV industry. That sounds a lot more exciting than the recruitment industry. I'd love to hear some more stories about that. But I don't know, historically, the recruitment industry isn't so hot on the emotionally intelligent leadership, certainly in companies that I've worked for. And it is changing, definitely. But I just think the smartest thing a leader can do is be vulnerable and honest about what's going on. People aren't stupid. The far better to be brave and open and honest, absolutely, with parameters and thought about how that lands, and maybe some support around, part B conversations. But yeah, just be brave and have the conversation and get that camaraderie to pull through it.
Yeah, I think so. And your support that's there's so many people that are willing to support you, including us and your companies, and doing things like this. If you've got a query, if you've got a challenge, if you've got a problem, ask the coach, and we'll be here to help you.
Beautifully done.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Right. This came out, and this week we were due to all put our details in for speakers for the next expo, which is moving in March to the XL, so that's going to be interesting and exciting. So Louise, let's come to you on this one then. What makes a good industry speaker?
I actually went to the XL yesterday to have a little look, and that's not answering your question at all, but I'm going to still tell you. So I went in on the Elizabeth line and I went out on the DLR, and it was great, really simple. So I think the location's going to work great next year. Okay, but to answer the question, what makes a good industry speaker? So I have a ton of applications for this event from people who think they have something really interesting to say. The problem often is it's a super niche thing, like why you should recruit in Glasgow, and you've got to think about who your audience is. So what makes a good industry speaker is someone who can talk to the audience. You need to understand your audience. So a really niche topic and a massive event doesn't work. But if you're talking at an expo around hiring in Glasgow, then you're going to get the gig. So understanding the audience, understanding the profile of the attendees, understanding how many slots there are available. So, if it's an event with 100 slots, you've got a much higher chance of speaking on a niche topic. If it's an event with 20 slots, you're going to need to keep it pretty broad, because actually the organizer is going to want to have a range of topics, but they can't be super niche. Other things are picking a catchy title. So I have seen some absolute shockers. You need to be thinking clickbait, but you need to have the content behind it. So what I like to see in an application is a really catchy title, a good description. This is what the audience are going to get out of it. So not a ton of waffle in that as well. So really catchy title, detailed description, but to the point, and showing you have expertise in the subject. So if I look at someone's LinkedIn profile and I can immediately see that they are, so it could be 10 coaching techniques for recruiters. And then I go to your profile, and if you're a coach and you've been coaching recruiters on these techniques, I'm going to think, yeah, you're going to be a great speaker for me. And you don't have to speak at other events to get a gig, like speaking at the Agency Expo. You really, it's a real challenge. If you've never spoken anyway, you've got to find that first place to speak. So for me, I am never only looking for people who've already got previous speaking experience. I want people who are new to the stage, but I can see they're credible. It's a little bit like recruiting. I'm looking at you, looking you up on Google, looking you up on LinkedIn, making sure you've got that credibility. Hiring in 2023. That's Stephen's clickbait title. Stephen's not speaking at the Agency Expo.
and I haven't sent it through to you yet, is Happy Cows Produce More Nutritious Milk.
Angela,
Would that grab you?
I love that title, but I really hope you have sent it through to me because the deadline was Wednesday.
No, I'm on the beach.
We'll discuss this later.
I did make a note. Now, what about the other two ladies? So Claire and Sarah, have you ever spoken at an event, like a large event with hundreds of people?
Yeah, a lot of online stuff on during lockdown, and I'm also another of my roles is chair of an organisation called Lean in Leeds. That's 1,100 women, and it's all about gender equality. So I do twice monthly events for them in Leeds. I think the biggest one we did was a conference called Unspoken, which is about all the stuff that women need to go through just to show up at work every day, which was incredible. I did that 5 weeks after giving birth, and I have no idea what I said, quite frankly. But if I can do that, then I can do anything.
Brilliant. Okay. And have you applied for the expo? Because I did see you at the last one walking around.
I have applied for the expo, yeah, but I was a day late, so I put a little note on the application saying I'm really sorry.
Well, I was out yesterday, so it's absolutely
disgraceful.
Fine.
Disgraceful. I did say sorry, Louise.
We all do it, don't we? We have a great idea at the time, and then we go, we'll get round to that. Louise, you should only give us 3 days rather than 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is, because it's like, it gets lost. Right. Sarah, what about yourself as a speaker?
Well, I'm kind of wishing that I had sent something in for this. Damn it, I've missed my opportunity. But
no, go for it. Go for it. You
know. So the talk would be, what TV's writers' room can teach you about employee relations. Ooh. So bringing something different. But I've talked, I did in my career in higher education, I did, obviously a lot of talks and public speaking, and quite a few exciting interviews with people. I like that kind of in conversation setup as well, where you're kind of, leading a conversation with someone. But yeah, similar to Claire, well, not as much as Claire, but kind of online stuff I've kind of been doing. And I've got an HR forum speaking opportunity coming up in a few weeks in December. So I'm really looking forward to that. Trying to help people again, just talking about how values, that values is like a journey that you can follow, from working on your own personal values and what work means to you, and then connecting the dots to the company values, so that you actually, you end up with a team who are all on board and know their strengths and weaknesses, know what matters to them and what doesn't, and they can, it leads to much more understanding and sort of compassion in the workplace, I think.
Wonderful. Well, Claire and I would definitely be listening, wouldn't we, for the writers' room? We're already in for it. We just got to convince Louise now, and we'll get you there.
Right. Yes.
Next year.
Terrible, isn't it?
Brilliant. Thank you.
Live on air.
Hey, we love it when it, and again, like you say, new speakers with a different angle always grabs our attention in recruitment. So definitely interesting. Right, last question then, and this is a free for all. We can offer this one. What's everyone doing about Christmas parties this year? It seems to have gone, we've had one, so I'm guessing for 3 years. I'm not sure people really want to get together in big groups. So Claire, let's come to you first. What's your thoughts on Christmas parties this year?
Well, I haven't got anyone to go to onwards, so I'm a bit sad about this, but thanks. My husband's actually out on his first Christmas party this evening, which seems a little early. I think it's possibly an excuse. So for me, there is a sweet spot between being tone deaf and recognizing that people maybe haven't got a ton of cash at the moment to go out and have a jolly. And I think there is still an appetite to want to get together and celebrate just being able to again. That human connection for me is, have you heard the term collective effervescence? I keep talking about it all the time, but it's you get it, right? It's the feeling when we're in a room together and you've got that human contact and you're sparking off ideas, and there's just an energy you can't get on a screen. And that for me is why we should come together and have Christmas parties, because we're all still blooming here, we're all still kicking, and I think that needs celebrating.
Yeah.
I love that, and I've just realised I don't know how to spell effervescence.
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
I got lost.
I'll type
agree with you. I
I'll
knew
type
exactly what you did. As soon as you said it, I thought, oh yeah, it is that buzz and that fizz and everything that happens when you're all in a room together. So Louise, I'm in a room with you next week. It's an awards rather than a Christmas party. We're going to bring some collective effervescence next Wednesday at the Nora's.
I am. I'm 100% bringing my effervescence. I like that word. I think that there's two sides to this. Is broadly speaking, I think people do have an appetite for social get-togethers. I was at the Global Recruiter Awards last night. There were one heck of a lot of people in that room. Everybody who was there was happy to be there. Old, young, very heavily pregnant. Erica was there. So I think that a very high percentage of people are probably up for it. But you mustn't forget about the people who aren't. So there could still be some people in your organisation who have been remote working for the last 2 years, who just don't feel comfortable in getting together in a social context. And you've got to think about how you're going to broach that so that they are given the opportunity to attend or not attend, not made to feel like they're completely separate from everybody else. Really, really tricky, but absolutely do not assume, unless you've all been to the pub every single week, do not assume that everybody is up for a disco and a night out, would be my advice.
Disco, get you. Right, Sarah.
As I say, do discos even still exist?
They do in my head.
They do in my kitchen. That's about it. I think, I agree with what Louise is saying. I think there is still some reluctance. I think there's reluctance to actually maybe organise or think about planning for an event. But then when you actually get there, it's kind of effervescence off the scale, because I think people are just so excited to be, connected and with other people again. But I think there is, from my experience talking to people, I think there is a sense of wariness still with a lot of people, in terms of actually getting out there. But for me, sadly, I'm reduced to a wreath making session with my book club for my Christmas night out, because I work on my own now. So similar to Claire, I miss that. I would love to be.
We'll go out, Sarah.
Yeah, we'll arrange to meet up midway. I think that's what I'm kind of realising I really miss actually about working for yourself, is not having that option.
Yes, we're very lucky. The recruiting gym, there's 11 of us now, so we do feel like a team, and we get together once a quarter, and because of that reason, we do feel like we need to have that human contact. It makes a big difference. And we're gatecrashing the members only Christmas party next week, because it was meant to be the summer party, and then it all got cancelled because of the Queen. So they switched it to a Christmas party, and we were like, right, that's our Christmas party then, because we're going anyway. So hopefully that will be full of collective effervescence. Yeah. We're going to be using that word all the time. Thank you. You've got 3 new things I can use. I love it. Every day's a learning day. Wonderful. Well, what's the time? 2 minutes to go. Thank you for keeping on track at the beginning and kicking off on time, even if I wasn't here. I've worked out what the black square was. It's because it was linked into my other camera on my laptop, and obviously I'd got it covered over with the good camera instead. So that's why it was black. So that's why I suddenly worked out, I can do this. But apart from that, we got there, we got sorted, we got some great answers that you've got. Please do share them in there. We've got your LinkedIn links in there, so if people want to learn more from you, do share your talk, Sarah, with Louise, because we would all be interested in hearing about that. I think that would be fascinating for us in the recruitment industry, so that would be great as well. Next week is Blake's first ever Christmas party. He joined us this summer, so it'll be his first ever Christmas party, because he's only 19. Wow. So he was 16 when COVID hit, so not been able to have that. But yeah, Charlotte's more the kitchen disco. She likes her home. She has got 10 cats, so I'm not surprised either to leave them. It's quite hard. Right, woohoo, says Stephen. The Noras, of course, yes. He's called it otherwise mass hysteria. No, we're going with the effervescence. We love the effervescence. Thank you for spelling that for me, Claire.
Took me a few
Wonderful.
days.
Have a great time. I know I got to the end, and is there an I in there? Is there not? I don't know. No, right. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I am spending it on the beach. I'm so happy that I finally got away to some sunshine. So I hope you all have wonderful, because I can see sunshine on Louise's face. I've been told it's been miserable over there, but it doesn't look like it. So it's brightening up for the weekend for you all. We're back on Monday morning. Next week on the daily workout is the Chrome extension week. So 5 days Chrome extensions that make your life a lot easier. We've done 25 already, I think. We've done 5 weeks of it. So there's lots in there. If you've never seen it before, or go to our TikTok. Blake makes little TikToks out of them showing you how they help you as well. So, feel free to do that. And you can get the links in there, Blake. Brilliant. Okay. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.